Hi, my name is Brandi Charlo. I'm the owner of Blucid Floral.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell everyone, where are you from?
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, downtown in the lower 9.
In the lower 9. So actually, what made you want to choose to actually open your business here?
In this space?
Yeah.
Well, this is my neighborhood. I've been here all my life, mostly all my life. My dad owned this building years ago, and when he passed, of course, I inherited the property, so generational wealth. My kids were young, so when the timing was right, when God's timing, I was able to open a space in my neighborhood, which actually turned out to be a very great idea.
Okay, so let's bring it back. So let's tell everyone a little about yourself. So basically, if we want to know, what's your entrepreneur and before it's background?
I started in event planning, and then I ventured off to floral design. When I would see it in the space, or when I would set the flowers in the space, it would it just tells a different story. Then I decided to kind of play with flowers a little bit, and I realized that I was actually gifted in it, and I decided to educate myself more. I was a protege in New York. I also recently studied in Paris. I just took the time to really take it full force.
Okay. And so going to Paris, actually from New Orleans, I'm gonna tell everyone how that was like.
It was a dream trip. Times flower business. I really enjoyed that experience because I got to experience flowers on another level. The humidity here is very different. The design aesthetic is much different, and even just all of the architecture and space. The spaces are different, very unique. I think I enjoyed that the most, just being around a lot of inspiration. New Orleans is a very cultural background, so it has its own taste and style and essence. So it is a big difference, but it was definitely an experience.
Okay. And so tell us, how do you actually advertise your business?
Actually, word of mouth have always been a win. I've always say that's the best marketing you can ever have. However, Instagram has been a huge platform for my business, which I'm very grateful for. And just your work speaks for itself.
Okay. So what's your company's end goal? If you plan on franchising your company, different things like that?
No, so I asked my daughter about taking over the business. She's 11. She said, nah, she's not interested. And I respect that.
Well, she's only 11.
Yeah. But I think her mind is made up. However, I want to see my business thrive in a way. Eventually, I open up my school, and then I'll be able to give and drop all the jewels once I'm retired. Because as a young entrepreneur, it's hard to just give it all away when you're building yourself. You have to protect some things. You got to take care of you first. Once you do that, everything kind of falls in place. Everything I just feel like is guided by God and what He sees fits for my business. But right now at the moment, I really don't know, simply because I always said I want my kids to find their gift, find their niche, and whatever that may be. Now, if they decide to do something different with the business, I'm fine with that as well. But hopefully I'll be able to pass it along to even my grandkids. Never know.
Okay. So, as far as being a business owner, tell us some of the struggles that you have to actually deal with.
So some of the struggles I had to deal with is I would say the financials in the beginning. Building, you take and you invest. Even now, anything that you have, you want to make sure you're constantly reinvesting so that you can continue to produce the best quality, have the best product, have everything that you need to run a business efficient. I will say that just making sure that connecting to the right resources, having all of your connects for what you want to, whatever umbrella your business is underneath. Just making sure that, you have the right resources. Sometimes that can, be a struggle. Like as a florist here in New Orleans, you have to be a licensed florist. So you need to make sure that you have your license. And I did schooling on my own. I had to figure all of the ins and outs before I went and tested, to become a licensed florist. So that was one of the things. That's one other thing. I will say that understanding that this has been a predominantly white market for a very long time, so tapping into another market, race market, it can become very challenging. So you're always even proving and fighting to your own people of color, of black people, to learn flowers, learn different styles, understanding pricing. So just educating can sometimes be difficult if they don't know. But in due time, as you continue to progress and different clients support you in what you're doing, you begin to develop and get people to trust what you have going on.
Okay. But I heard they would speak on far as on like race. So like, have you ever dealt with any racism?
I mean, yeah. When I tried to purchase certain products, I think I would get treated differently with different companies. Like very long time ago, maybe about 5 or 6 years. A company didn't want to sell to me if I wasn't the bride. However, I was a licensed florist, but they would sell to a bride. Very interesting. When I did an exhibit in New Orleans Museum. They have cameras everywhere, and one of my exhibit was knocked over. Nobody else's, but then no one can tell me what happened. So you go through little things like that, and then you realize later on down the line when stories start reporting that you're not the only one that have even people that work in-house. So I knew that I was not a problem when I addressed them about what happened to my exhibit that I took and had me and took a lot of time for took a lot of time to make. However, I will say that a lot of intimidation come because a lot of times people think, I've heard people say, you're no competition, no problem. But when your designs start to flourish and you start to flourish, then people back away. So, and that goes for any race. Yeah. Like the minute people see that you're actually thriving and moving forward, and you can be making great money with these people, and just doing really great jobs, not even just the money, everybody eating. But if they feel like they're working extra hard, they'll push you to the side and they'll go to the other folks.
Okay. So, if you can, start over again. Tell us, what do you think you'll be doing? Like, would you do anything, different? Or would you have started sooner?
No, definitely God's timing. Like, I would have not done anything different. I feel like God always give me things in pieces. And I appreciate that, because if it would have went any other way, you don't value it. Like, you don't get to see all of the ins and outs of business, of people, how to deal with them, how to run a business, meeting different people to elevate you, because you can't do all of this by yourself. So you also begin to learn about people. So it's just different aspects that I wouldn't have wanted all in one. I enjoyed the process. I no longer want to skip it. I've been there in other spaces.
Okay. So I want you to actually define your definition of success.
Success is what you make of it. It's what you feel. I always say, if you're gonna be a janitor, sweeping floors, be the best sweeper. Success is what you believe. It's not about what society think. It's not about, what makes, the standards and all of that great stuff. Success is what you believe. It's how you perceive, greatness. So for me, my success is being able to actually manifest things that come out of my mouth. So a lot of people, you know, can show a lot of things, let's just say on Instagram, but if you really had to get deep inside their head, you won't go very far. So just being able to have the mental capacity and and level-headed is more important than anything. It's more important than money. Is, you know, putting that extra time in to become a better person, and not just a great business person, but a human being in itself, because other people are going to be reaching for you, and you need to be able to have that discerning spirit to know when to choose you and when to be able to give them that added value.
Okay, so tell us what separates your floral shop from others.
From I am Blucid. I'm the culture. I am New Orleans. You know, it sets me apart. I second line, I dance in the street with sidewalk steppers. I meet my people where they are. I bring in exquisite flowers for them to see, touch, feel. You know, growing up, we didn't experience that. We only knew silk. So just be able to provide a space, not only display me, but display other people. I have different artists like Jeremy, like Co-Art. I have Jafar. I have my photographer, Ashley. She shoots. It's not just about me. It takes a village. So I'm just grateful. That's what set me apart. Being able to actually have my culture and everything that's inside of my head is in this space.
Okay. So, you know, being from New Orleans and actually, living in New Orleans and opening one business in New Orleans, do you sometimes often like, dang man, I need to move because of the crime, or like, you know, if just like different things that's going on in New Orleans? Because, you know, most people want to move from New Orleans, and because sometimes our people don't actually support us until others actually support it.
I really don't have that problem. I can honestly say black people, my community of people, and I mean from the West Bank, I didn't have people come as far as Edgar, Louisiana. I don't have that problem. Like, I have real support. I have a great amount of just great people, successful people, middle class. I mean, I get everybody to come into here, and I'm grateful for that, and I don't take it for granted. However, I'm never really afraid, because, you know, I always say, and I mean this, I'm a gangster, but on the up and up, I believe like everybody else. You know, I'm not gonna let nobody come in here and just take me, you know, for everything that I have in such a way where, you know, I'm walking in fear. It's not designed for you to walk in fear. You know, I'm blessed to open up the door. You know, people talk about stragglers. I mean, these people around here, they could tell you, if I walk up on this porch, they gonna tell you, oh, Brandi, such and such was, and I'm watching everything on the camera. So, you know, it's just good to have that old school thing where everybody in the community is kind of watching, and we all family, we all know each other. So it's a little bit different. It's a community.
And it actually opened up my business, the CBD, where everybody, and you just don't know.
Yeah, that's where all the crime at. I don't really, you know, I always tell people, by the time, just years ago, by the time they get to back of town where they always want to say they dumped the bodies, they already gone. Half of those things didn't happen on this side. You know, it's just a part of life. And when you grow up in that, that's what I'm grateful for. I'm diverse because I've experienced all of it. You know, I'm just grateful that I was able to experience different, you know, parts of the city. You know, growing up in the 7th Ward for a little while, growing up down here for the rest of my life. Like, I'm just grateful because, you know, it allowed me to meet people where they are and experience and feel safe.
Right. Okay, so growing up here in the lower ninth ward, you know, I'm gonna go deeper with you. So like, what do you like? I want to hear. What's your intake and how you feel on what happened for Hurricane Katrina?
Hurricane Katrina, I always gotta take it back to God's will. You know, we did lose a lot of people, you know, but it was an opportunity, you know, for things to start being exposed. Things that this community actually needed at a point. Whereas, you know, a lot of opportunities come from tragedy. You know, it's unfortunate a lot of people lose their lives, a lot of families are hurting, but a lot of people were able to rebuild in such a way that they had never lived before. So I feel like if we had to look at the positive side, People were able to rebuild beautiful homes, beautiful spaces, you know, begin to learn more about the culture, begin to learn more about the levee breaches, and, you know, just being more involved. So it has its ups and downs, and, you know, we just able to really understand that we living in some really dark times, and we need to start identifying with that. So, you know, because there's one thing after another. We got the storm, we had the hurricane, and we had a few other things to happen nature-wise after that. So,
all right. So, you know, hey, but you already told us earlier that, you know, if you love to like second line, everything like that. So tell us actually, what does New Orleans culture actually mean to you?
So the culture means to me is just so everybody coming together. You know, you don't see any color that day. You don't feel it's just letting your mind be free, letting your feet float. You know, just happiness. You know, when we're dancing in the streets, we're not thinking about anything but just letting loose and feeling the vibration in the areas of the community of people coming together like they did years ago. So, you know, the history and the culture is deep. And that's what I'm grateful to be a part of, because, you know, enslaved days and, you know, just going through all of the different motions that we have as black people have went through, you know, sometimes those things were just a spirit of freedom, you know. So now we're free, and we feel free, and we're dancing in the streets, and we are really able to just let our minds be free. Like nothing's better than that, to let go of all the things you probably went through that week or however, and just, you know, just that vibration is just a beautiful thing.
Gotcha.
Get dressed, because we the flyest ones in the city, gotta know that. So yeah, but yeah, sidewalk for life.
So what do you see your where do you see your business going 3 years from now?
I plan to have, I'm manifesting, I will have a company van paid for. I don't like debt. And I also don't want to just get a van to sit outside the door, and I'm paying insurance and I'm paying car note. You know, that's how a lot of people lose in business, and then people get into accidents and all that. So I said, God, I just want a van that's paid for. So I'm able to maintain and manage. So just being able to think in ways where I watch other people lose their business, I always just try to perfect those things, even down to my own space. I carry a perishable item. So when I see that it's getting slow, I don't mind shutting down. Nobody can tell me how to run Blucid, because I watch businesses fail trying to keep up, you know, where you really decline.
Demand.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So what's your advice to one younger entrepreneur that's trying to follow your footsteps?
Go for it. Just do it. Do your homework. Educate yourself. Respect when people are limited in information, because that's okay. It's designed for you to go out and hustle and work for it. Everybody's not going to give you everything. You know, if I give you all that I have, how can I eat? This is how I eat. You know, and that's something I had to learn. And I'm okay with that, and people have to respect those boundaries. However, you're going to meet the right people that's going to elevate you and bring you to the place that you need to go. You just have to trust God in the process. That's number one. And if it's a feeling that you know you can't get rid of, you know that it's for you. It's not going to fail. Even when you're shaking, things are going to work itself out. Go for it. Educate yourself. Invest in yourself. Travel. Go, not travel just to say, oh, I'm on a flight. Travel to go and explore, to see, to become inspired, to come and do something different. Because the key goal is to always ask yourself, what sets you apart?
Gotcha. So, tell us, what's next for you? For you in your business, like entrepreneur, Brandi, everything.
For Brandi, is, you know, we hear people scream about peace all the time. To actually living is a different thing. Just being able to accept things that I've been delivered from to get to this point. When they say God don't bless a mess, it's true. He'll give you minimal. He'll let you get a glimpse of things. But when you really start getting order in your life, it changes everything. So for me, it's continuing to take that path to really walk straight and know and trust that God is real, so that I can continue to get what's for Brandi and not for anyone else. As it relates to Blucid, I wanted to continue to build. I'm very patient with Blucid because I watch God work. It's valid. It's evidence. So I don't question much. I kind of go with the flow. I pray. I journal. I meditate. And my meditation is simple as walking on the levee. And as it relates as a whole, bringing other jobs in for people, being able to open up my school, being able to elevate on another level where I'm actually saving souls.
Gotcha. And also, last but not least, tell everyone how can they find you on social media and just how to find your business.
My shop is located in the Lower 9th at 5113 St. Claude Avenue. My Instagram handle is at BLUCID Floral, at Blucid Floral.
But all right, we done, and I'm like, this is your story.
It is. It's all mine. Nobody else's.